P, I have a situation that I would like your opinion on. The woman I've been with for the past 3 years just suddenly decided that she does not want to be with me anymore. Everything seemed to be going well, and we were even discussing marriage. A few weeks ago, she told me that she does not want to be with me anymore. I did nothing wrong, and I gave her the best of myself. I have been fighting to get her back, but now I want to know if I should let her go or keep on trying. I have never felt such pain, and I have even considered ending my life. I don't know if I can move on from this. Have you ever been heartbroken, and how did you overcome it? I can believe you when you say that this is the worst pain that you've ever felt. I can tell you right now that I personally have been heartbroken, and I'll tell you that story in just a moment. But before I go any further with this, I want to say something that you might need to hear, which is that anyone who has ever had a broken heart knows that it is painful. It sucks. The pain of losing someone that you thought you would spend the rest of your life with sucks. The Bible says that hope deferred makes the heart sick. And I have a suspicion that it has something to do with the hope that you had for the future. Your expectations that you had for the future just suddenly being crushed right before you. So it is painful. It does suck. It is something that I don't wish on anyone. But it is also a wonderful experience because you get to learn from it. If you speak to any man, any woman who has ever been through heartbreak and constructively pulled themselves out of it, they will tell you that it had to happen to them so that they would grow to become the person that they are right now. So I'm going to share my story with you. I'll tell you what happened with my heartbreak, and from there, I want to give you 5 things that I want you to do if you want to move on from the current heartbreak that you are going through right now. If you're going to move on from this heartbreak, I want to share 5 things with you. I'm going to get very practical with you, and I will be very straightforward with you. This is not some fluff. This is not me trying to make you feel better about the situation. When I share these 5 things with you, it is so that I can, in the best way possible, put you in a position where you can start moving forward. I had a heartbreak back in 2020, and it was probably the first real heartbreak that I ever had, because this was the first woman that I ever truly loved with all my heart. And I don't say that loosely when I say loved with all my heart. I really loved her. I had all of these expectations for the future. I had all of these expectations for how our lives would turn out. And that heartbreak was very important because it was my transition from being a boy in my demeanor, in my attitude, in my thinking, in my understanding, to becoming a man. So the way that it happened was we had been together for about a year, and it was someone that at first I didn't think I could be with. And when it happened, I was like, whoa, you gave me a chance? And that already was a problem in itself. But we'll talk about that another time. But I still remember we had been together for a year, and after a year, exactly after a year, the month that we had been together for a year, we started to have some problems. There was some friction, and then suddenly she just decided that she doesn't want to be with me anymore. I still remember I saw her. We had a date because at the time we were doing a bit of a long distance thing after being together for a year. For about 2 months, it was a long distance, and we were together about 2 days before we broke up. Everything seemed okay. We went out, and our time together ended with a kiss. And I still remember 2 days later, she calls me and she says, I can't do this anymore. Can't do what? What do you mean? I cannot do this anymore. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And I'd rather be alone right now. Now, I don't know what to think about that. There are so many things that can be said about that. Did she find someone else? Did she just not want to be in this relationship? Was she just overwhelmed with what was happening in her life at the time? It doesn't matter. That's really irrelevant. The point is, it ended right there and then, and she did this over the phone. I still remember the day so well. The president had just announced the lockdown, the national lockdown, and she got on the phone and said, as you can tell, I cannot travel, so I wanted to just share this with you. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I'll never forget that night and the nights that would follow. I would just be sitting by myself on my bed in the middle of the night wondering, what did I do wrong? Can I still get her back? How can I fix this? What is wrong with me? Why wouldn't she want to be with me? Did she find someone else? And it was probably the worst experience of my life. And I only have one regret about that experience. I don't regret many things in my life, but with this experience, I have one regret. And that regret is I tried to get her back. I tried to convince her to want to be with me. That's the only regret that I have. Now, I want to say this before we go forward with this video. I want to say to you that you will hear me say some things that someone else might disagree with and you yourself might disagree with, and that's okay. This is me speaking, and this is what I think, this is what I believe. But the only regret that I have from that heartbreak was that I tried to convince her to want to be with me. Until one day, I found a poem by Khalil Gibran, and he says, "Do not love half lovers.
Do not love half lovers. Do not entertain half friends."
And I made a promise to myself from that moment onwards, I will not be with anyone who does not want to be with me. From that moment onward, I had to make that decision, but it still wasn't easy. It was still painful. It was still very, very uncomfortable to get through that whole thing. And I'm explaining this as if it took place over a couple of days, but it took place over months. And I will dare to even say for 2 years after that, I still couldn't stop thinking about her. It was terrible. It was a terrible experience for me. A couple of months later, I was still bitter and I was still resentful and angry at her for causing me the pain that she caused me. And I still remember one day, I just had this sudden inclination to just call her. I still remembered her number at the time, so I just typed her number and I called. I said, "Hey, listen, I'd like to see you. I just need 5 minutes of your time." At the time, we were living in different cities. I said to her, "I'm going to be in your city tomorrow. Can I see you just for 5 minutes?" I wasn't going to be in her city. I was going to travel just for her. She agreed, and the following day, I got into the car, drove about 150 kilometers, and I was with her for about 5 to 10 minutes. When I got there, I looked at her and I said to her, "Listen, I want to apologize to you. I know that I kept on blaming you for what happened, and I've been blaming you for the past couple of months for how I've been feeling. But I want to apologize to you because you did not owe me love. You did not owe me loyalty. You did not owe me faithfulness. You gave it because you wanted to give it. Beyond that, you did not owe me anything. And it was wrong for me to feel like I was entitled to what you were giving freely. So, I want you to know, and it probably doesn't mean much to you right now because it's been a couple of months, but this is good for me to say this. I am letting you go. I want to release you. I hope that you forgive me for expecting you to love me just because I loved you. I loved you because I wanted to, and you did not owe me reciprocation." Had that conversation, and I'll tell you right now that after having that conversation, I drove back home as a different man. Drove back home and there was something in me that shifted and I was no longer a boy. I realized there and then that I had just taken responsibility for my own emotions, for my own feelings. I had just taken responsibility for how I reacted to something that happened to me. I took that power away from her and I took the power back for myself. And I've never been the same since. I'll tell you this, today, I can say with certainty, not very difficult to get rid of me. It's not very difficult to break up with me. I told you that my only regret was trying to save the relationship. Today, it is not difficult. Listen to me. I am not married. And until I am married, I probably the marriage will be something to fight for. But right now, you look at me as if you don't want to be with me. It's cool. I'm out. You don't have to want to be with me. I am out. So with that being said, that was my heartbreak experience. And I'm not saying that after that, there wasn't any residual pain. There was. And in a moment when I tell you these 5 things that I think that you should do, I'll explain to you how I got over it. But here are 5 things that I want to share with you if you're going to get over your heartbreak, if you're going to get over the breakup that you just went through. Here are 5 things that I want you to do. Number 1, this is very obvious and I don't know why most people don't do this. Number 1, get rid of all pictures. delete every single photo. Now, I understand, maybe for some of you, it might be that you have a child together and you have family, the picture with your child and them. Maybe that's a different scenario, and there's something about that is a bit more complex than how I'm simplifying it. Perhaps then you want to put it somewhere where it is not easily accessible. But for everyone else, I want you to get me when I tell you this. Get rid of the pictures. I don't care how sentimental you are. I don't care how you don't feel anything when you look at these pictures. Get rid of all pictures. Pictures of her alone, pictures of you together. Get rid of every single picture, every single video, any visual representation of her. Doesn't matter. Get rid of it. Now, it might be difficult. It might not be easy. I'll tell you right now, it took me years to delete all the pictures of that girlfriend that I told you about, that the one that really broke my heart. It took me years to completely delete every single picture. And I'll tell you now, the one I had after that, when she said she didn't want to be with me anymore, I deleted the pictures before I got home. We met at a public place. She said, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. By the time I got home, I had deleted every single picture. Pictures of her, pictures of us, it didn't matter to me. Even pictures of the places where we have been. I had to be very serious about that. You wanting to keep the pictures is like a drug addict keeping some drugs in the house and claiming that, no, it's just in case. What do you mean in case? Are you trying to get free or not? Are you trying to break this habit or not? So number one, delete all pictures. Number two, delete numbers and all forms of communication. Delete every single number and all forms of communication. It doesn't matter. Listen to me. Just delete. Make sure that there is no way of communicating with her. Make sure that there is no chance of you laying in bed at night and thinking to yourself, I should probably just text her. You delete her number, and let me tell you this. She might say to you that it's immature. She might think that it's, we're grown-ups and we can have each other's number, we can communicate. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. If it hurts you as much as you say it does, you have to delete every single form of communication. Cut it off. Doesn't matter. Just cut it off. Number three, what you have to do is you have to unfollow on every single social media platform. You don't need to see what's happening in her life. You don't. You don't need to see what she's getting up to on her Instagram. You don't need to see what she's getting up to on Facebook, on Snapchat, whatever it is. Just unfollow, block, do whatever you have to do to make sure that you don't get to see her life. And again, someone else might say to you that that's just being insecure. That's just immature. Listen, and that's okay. That is okay. I'll tell you right now, I don't have a problem with following anyone that I've been with in the past now. I don't have a problem with getting in contact with them now. But at the time, I had to cut off all communication until I was at a point where it was okay for us to not be together. I had to cut off all communication. So number three, you want to make sure that you unfollow on every single platform. Number four, this might be a little more complicated, but it's very important as well. To the best of your ability, minimize your mutual relationships. There are some people that you will have to cut off just because you know that they are more loyal to her than they are to you. And this is not about you are either with me or against me. It's not about being against you or with you. It is just that you don't want to be around people who will remind you of something that you are trying to get away from. You don't want to be with people who will keep you talking about it, thinking about it, and all of this. You're going to have to cut them off. You don't have to announce it to them. You're not breaking up with them. You just stop talking to them. I'll tell you this. When I was trying to move on from the girl that I really, really suffered through the heartbreak with, I still remember I had some people who would often try to talk to me about her. Oh, did you see she's on TV now? Oh, did you see she's up? And I didn't want to talk about it. I just stopped talking to them. I just stopped talking to them because I was trying to move on. I was trying to move past that. And so the friends that I had people around me who understood that that is a no-go. We're trying to get away from that, and you're not going to keep me there. Now I can talk about it, but back then, I didn't want to hear anything about it. And number five, you have to redirect your energy. You have to redirect your energy. Now, let me say this on the previous point. Let me just include this as well. I understand that there are some relationships that you cannot completely get rid of, but it has to be relationships that are understanding. There might be some people who are your friends and her friends, but they have to be understanding of the fact that you are no longer there and you are trying to move on, and they cannot stand in the way of that. If they stand in the way of that, they gotta go. They have to go. So number 5, redirect your energy. I want you to understand that energy is not positive or negative. Energy just is. It just is. Whether it is positive or negative depends on the mind that it occupies. So it is you. It is you. Your thinking is what makes energy what it is. It's what makes it either positive or negative. The same fire that is used to burn down a house is the same fire that can be used to cook. It is the same fire that can be used to light the house up. Right? So energy can only be transformed. It cannot be destroyed. It is the same energy. It is the same energy. The same energy that boils water and cooks your food is the same energy that can burn you and send you to the hospital. So with that being said, I want to say to you that if you are in that place, you have to redirect your energy towards your personal development. If you know that you are out of shape, get in shape. Work on yourself. Don't let anyone say, no, sit down with your emotions. You got to feel them. It's probably the most terrible way of going through a breakup, to sit and stew in your feelings, your emotions. You're not a child. Just go out and do something. You're not a child. You have every right to say, no, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel that. I want to feel something different. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a run. If I used to go to the gym for one session, I'm going to do 2 sessions. If I used to just work about 6 hours a day, I'm going to work 12 hours a day. It doesn't matter. I'm going to redirect my energy, because that energy can change your life completely. I'll tell you right now, that energy changed my life. And I mean this sincerely. I say this intentionally. That energy changed my life. I still remember back then, when I had this breakup, I sat down and I thought to myself, Poloko, do you think she should really want to be with you? Just look at your life. Look at your life. Look at where you are right now. If you were her, would you want to be with you? If you were her right now, what is it about you that would make her want to stay? And I decided to myself that I wasn't the man that I was supposed to be. I wasn't. Because here's the truth about your breakup. The truth about your heartbreak is that there's one of two things are true. One of two things are true, and this should make you feel better about the situation. This should help you change your perspective. It's either, number 1, you are an amazing individual and she is foolish for leaving you. Or you are not that amazing and she has every right to leave you so that she can be with someone better. Either way, it had to happen. If she is foolish enough to leave a perfect person such as yourself, then she deserves whatever's coming her way. But if you can honestly say, I am not perfect, I have not yet become the man that I'm supposed to be. Or if you're a woman, if you were saying, I am not yet the woman that I'm supposed to be in order to be able to maintain that kind of relationship, then just take that humble pie, begin to work on yourself. Redirect your energy from thinking about them, from wanting to text them, to working on yourself. Develop yourself. Find a new skill. Start working on yourself physically. Start reading some more books. Start educating yourself on something. Start to elevate yourself economically, in status. Become somebody. Becomes not for them, not so that they will regret, not so that revenge can be your success can be revenge. No, not for any of those reasons. For you, for you. You redirect your energy for you. They don't, listen, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that energy anymore. They're not in your life. They might as well be dead at this point, to be honest with you. They might as well be dead. They might as well be a stranger. Right? So with that being said, I understand that heartbreak can be difficult. It can be very hard to go through. But you're going to be okay. You know you're going to be okay. I know you're going to be okay. Everyone who knows you knows that you're going to get through it. But for now, just do these 5 things. Watch this video again. If you need to watch it once a day for the next 30 days while you are working on yourself. And I promise you, you're going to be okay.
When you change your thoughts, you change your life. This is Thoughts That Count with Poloko.